Hi guys, so I apologize for not filming an introduction to this, but all I'm doing is taking the Becca Backlight Primer, and this is just a sample size I got from Sephora, and I applied a generous amount because I have been sick and my skin was very dry and dull, and I wanted to make sure that my skin looked really luminous and that my makeup really stayed on. And just looked really flawless. So as you guys see, I'm really pressing it into my face and really working it in to make sure that it's really absorbed into the skin. You do not want this product to just sit on top of the skin. You really want to work it into the face. So the next thing I'm going to take is my Smashbox 24-hour eyeshadow primer, and I'm just going to apply this onto my eyelids. I want to prep my skin and really let it sit into my skin as I get my makeup on. So I'm just prepping both eyes with this and really make sure that it's patted onto the skin and dry. Now I'm going to take the Full Exposure palette by Smashbox, and the brush I'm using is just a fluffy brush by Crown, and I'm taking the yellowy white shade in the palette, and I'm just using that to basically set the primer I just laid down, and I'm taking that from the root of my lashes all the way up to the brow bone, and I'm just not being very precise with this. I'm just blending it and getting it on the lid. As you guys know, this does not require a lot of skill because the color does not show up. You just want to make sure everything looks smooth. And you want to make sure that that primer is set. I am still using that same fluffy brush, and I'm taking one of my favorite MAC eyeshadows. This is a Pro Longwear eyeshadow, and it's Always Sunny. And it's just a really pretty peachy neutral skin tone shade, so you guys will see that it almost looks like the dark circles I have, but it just looks a little bit brighter and warmer. And I like to take this shade and just apply it all over the lid and really take it high into the crease. It's going to help just kind of transition whatever color I put on top of there. And you just want to make sure that, again, you're not really being precise, but this is just going to help everything look really smooth and blown out and just super perfect. So just go ahead and keep blending that, and I'm just rocking it back and forth. And again, I'm going slightly higher than normally would. This is one of my all-time favorite colors, and this one is also a MAC Pro Longwear eyeshadow. And I'm just taking the same brush and I'm going to be applying that color into the crease, and the color that I'm using is Uninterrupted. Guys, it's such a beautiful mustardy brown, one of my favorites, and the combination of the two is just super beautiful and smoked out. Now I'm going to be taking a Bobbi Brown eyeshadow. This is the only Bobbi Brown eyeshadow that I own, and the shade is Rose Gold, and I'm taking a MAC 239 brush, and I'm taking that color and I'm just going to pack it onto the lid. I was really hoping that this color would pop and just kind of stand out against the mustardy browns I have on, but I felt like it was just a little bit too soft, so we're going to bump this baby up. But all I'm doing is taking that color, patting it on the lid, and then also dragging it to make sure that it's evenly applied onto the lid, and this color is like super creamy and buttery. Again, using that 239, I'm now going to take the shimmery gold shade in the Smashbox Full Exposure palette, and this is more of like a coppery gold, and I used the 239 wet, so I'm just taking that color and I'm putting it on top of the Bobbi Brown Rose Gold, and all I'm doing is patting it down and then just dragging it across the lid. Again, because you're using this wet, it's really easy to blend and to evenly apply the color onto your eyelid. So you want to take your time with this and really build it up, and also make sure that you're keeping it right under the crease. So again, I like to take my 239 and just kind of use that to carve out my eye. And just take your time. You don't want it to look more concentrated on one end. So just by taking your time and really dragging it and patting, you're going to get just an even application. Okay, so now I'm going to be taking the dark brown shade in the full exposure palette and my all-time favorite crease brush, the MAC 221, and I'm just going to take that deep brown shade and use it to carve out my crease. So as you guys see, I'm taking the color and I'm just lightly building it through the crease, and it's better to start off with a lighter hand and build up than to go in with tons of product and then just have to really work at blending it out. So just again, start off lightly and build, and I like to start from the end and move inward. If you feel like you want to really make sure that the crease is precise, go ahead and go back with your 239 and just really carve that out, and that's what you guys see me doing here. And I'm going again with the fluffy brush that I've been using, and I'm using uninterrupted again, and I'm just taking that color to swipe it across the crease, and this is going to help blend that deep chocolate that we just used. And again, it's all about building lightly and blending, so we're going to go back and forth like we always do. Okay, I'm ready to give my skin some life. I am going to be using my Marc Jacobs Remarkable Foundation, and I mixed it with the Cover FX custom cover drops in the shade G40. And you've got to make sure that you shake both of these products up. And I'm going to be using my Real Techniques sponge, and that's going to help blend the product together but also give you just a really flawless finish. So again, I'm using the custom cover drops in G40, and the stupid camera will not focus. So I just took 2 drops, mixed it in with a little dot of the Remarkable foundation. I love the Remarkable foundation, but it's super, super dark, and you guys will see that even using the custom cover drops in G40, it's still a little bit more golden than what I am currently, but we're going to make this work. So again, I'm using the Real Techniques sponge, and I'm using the flat end to really work that product into my face, and I'm going to also bring it down into my neck, because as you guys see, there is a color difference. So go ahead and pat that product on. You really have to pat this product on so it doesn't look heavy on the skin. But I have to say that I actually like the way that the Real Techniques sponge apply the makeup as opposed to a brush. I feel like it sheared the product out a little bit more and it looked more natural. I'm taking the same fluffy brush that I've been using and I'm blending. After I put on my foundation and my concealer, I just like to go back and blend to make sure that everything looks really smooth and flawless. Now I'm going to be using my Sephora corrector, and this is in the shade Peach. I just like to do a few little dots of the peach shade, and it's actually, I feel like it's a great concealer color for me. So I'm just taking that and I'm going to use my fingers to pat that right under my eyes. And I look crazy. I look like an Oompa Loompa. And again, we're going to make this work. I promise you guys it's going to end up looking good at the end. You know, I've seen other videos where people are using this same foundation, and I feel like the shades are so, so yellow. So I actually just repurchased a new one, which hopefully I'll get soon, and maybe I can mix the two and make it work so it doesn't look so yellow. But now I'm just taking the Real Techniques, and I'm using the sponge, the flat end, to just really make sure that my corrector is blended into my skin. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going back and I'm blending. You guys know I'm a blender. So I'm going to be using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in dark brown, and I am going to give myself some eyebrows, because y'all know mama don't got no eyebrows. And the nice thing about this product is that you can clean it up if you make any mistakes. So as you guys saw in the beginning, I had a little oopsie. Now I'm taking this Anastasia eyeliner. I'm taking that eyeliner and I'm just going to swipe that across my lower lash line, just back and forth until I build up the intensity that I want. And of course, I am making a mess, so I am using the sponge to basically hold my skin down and make sure that I don't move any of the makeup. That's a good trick that you guys can do, is you can always have a sponge on hand and use that when you're needing to tug at a certain area. I'm taking this dark brown again, and I'm using a pencil brush, and I'm just going to use that to smoke my lower lash line out. I really like doing this because not only does it make your eyeliner look softer, but it also will keep it from smudging onto your under eye. So it's just a little trick that you guys can try. Now I am taking my Makeup Forever bronzer, and this one is in 30M. This is the shade I like to use when I am a dark. And I'm taking my NARS Ita brush. I'm going to use this to just basically contour. I wanted it to look a little bit more intense, and I feel like the vision I had for this look, this really like golden bronzy look, is very like golden goddess, so I wanted to make sure that everything looked really warm and chiseled. Normally I wouldn't contour with a shade like this, but again, you know, I want it to look like I have a contour, but also it's bronze, and so the shade is deep enough to where it doesn't look like a full-blown orange. So now let's do the other side, and let's make our little faces look skinny. So just make sure that you're really blending this. I like to use the brush on different angles because it'll help blend, and again, you guys know I'm a big blender, so that everything looks really smooth. And I'm just taking the Real Techniques sorry, I keep saying brush, sponge, and kind of blending around the edges, and I'm going back in with the Ita brush and really intensifying that line. So it's fine to build the intensity of the contour, but I really believe in blending it out also so that it looks smooth and not just like a jagged, harsh line. And now I'm going to set my under eye with the Laura Mercier setting powder, and this is in the shade Translucent, and I'm using the same Real Techniques sponge, and I'm just taking that and I'm going to heavily apply it under my eyes. It's kind of like baking, but I'm not really baking to highlight. I'm really just wanting to make sure that my concealer stays in place. And I'm also taking that higher up into the cheek area so that it acts as a little bit of a highlight. If you're super dry under your eyes, I would not recommend this technique for you because it will enhance any texture or dryness under the eye. I don't always do this because I am a little bit drier. I'm now taking my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I know you guys are probably surprised that I am not using my Tarte Lash Primer, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm still sick in this video, and I did not feel like getting all that makeup off. So I figured that not applying the lash primer would make getting that mascara off easier. So what I'm doing is just really building up the mascara so that I get a thicker, fuller lash, and I don't really have to do anything else. Normally with this mascara I would use the primer because this mascara tends to run on me. I am now taking a fluffy brush, and this one is by Crown Cosmetics, and I am going to just wipe everything off. And I really like this brush. It's really soft and fluffy. But as you guys can see, I don't look like super bright or white under my eyes. It just looks, you know, really set. And I don't know why I left that part in there. So as you guys can see, it looks smooth. My foundation doesn't look as yellow anymore, does it? Now I'm going to be using one of my favorite blushes by MAC. This is one of their mineralized blushes, and this is in the color Warm Soul. I freaking love this brush. I'm using my Sephora brush just because I really want like a sheer application of this blush. I don't really want it to look super intense. And the reason why I use this brush too was because since my contour is a little bit stronger, I wanted to make sure that everything just blended and it looked natural and it didn't look choppy. So I really love this brush for that. And as you guys can see, everything is looking a little bit more normal. I don't look like no I don't look like no Oompa Loompa. Now I'm taking Dainty, which is another favorite MAC mineralized blush, and I wanted to add a little bit of color since I was going to keep everything else pretty soft. And I love Warm Soul. It's such a beautiful neutral blush, but I wanted something that was going to just kind of pop a little bit, and I decided to go a little crazy, guys. This is a paint stick by MAC, and it's in the color dark brown. It is legit brown. They use this for body painting, really, and now I'm taking my Sephora Pro fan brush, and I'm using that to blend out that contour that I just did with the brown. So as you guys can see, it looks more of like a gray tone now, and I wanted to go with something that was going to look a little bit more intense. So I pulled out the big guns, and I'm blending again. I definitely recommend this paint stick. I think it's a really great product for contouring, and it's one of those products that if you're a freelance makeup artist and you work for yourself, it's one of those shades that will work with just about any skin tone. So now I'm going back with the blush and making sure that everything is blended together and it doesn't look choppy. And I am now taking MAC's Soft and Gentle. I haven't used this in a really long time, and I'm taking one of my new MAC brushes. I hadn't used this in a long time, guys, and when I applied it, I was like, holy moly, that's why I freaking love this highlight. It is like super icy and silvery and beautiful. And the other thing about this highlight is that, some of the highlight powders that are out there can look a little powdery on the skin, and by that I mean like chalky, heavier, and this does not. This like literally looks like it's a cream highlight, and it's just so gorgeous. When I use it, I was like, yes, I remember why I loved you so much. It's one of those products that I just kind of tucked away, and I hate to say it, but I forgot about it, and as I've gone back to look at my collection, I saw it, and I'm like, yes, I love you. So I use it on the high points of my face, my cupid's bow, the nose, my cheekbones, around my eye, and I freaking love this. Like, it's just so freaking pretty. Look at that. Love it. Now I'm going to be taking Sable by MAC, and this is a really pretty, like, raisiny shade, and it's a frost, so you're going to see that it has some shimmer in it. And I'm using the 221 by MAC, and I'm just taking Sable and using that to define the crease a little bit more. I didn't want to go in with something that was too strong because I wanted to keep the eye makeup a little bit softer and looking more coppery and brown than something that was super intense. So I wanted a little bit of definition without it looking too intense or dramatic. So again, I'm just taking that 221 and rocking it back and forth, and I am loving it. I'm going back with that same shade and the same 221, and I decided that I wanted to really smoke that lower lash line out and add just a little bit of that shimmer to the lower lash line. It didn't make a total difference, but it did look prettier. Now I'm taking this new Sephora lip liner. This is one of their gel liners. These are amazing. I believe this is Rosewood, and I'm going to be using it to line my lips, and I'm also going to blend it out a little bit so it looks super, soft. It doesn't look really intense. And I'm using Charlotte Tilbury's Penelope Pink, and for whatever reason it looks a little bit more peachy, but this is the final look, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this, and once again, let me know if you guys have any comments, questions, suggestions. And then I lied. I am taking my Kat Von D ink liner, and after looking at it, I felt like I wanted it to look a little bit more defined, And again, I didn't want to go in with like a darker color in the outer corner or the crease, so I figured a little bit of an eyeliner would add the right amount of definition. And this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or recommendations.